that tells you exactly where the region is heading, region of West Africa to be specific. The Alliance of Sahel States has opened the very first session of its confederal parliament. A lot of people are talking about this parliamentary summit that was attended by delegation from Chad, by delegation from Togo, by delegation from Benin, and a lot of people is calling this a serious shift away from the ECOWAS geopolitical sphere of influence. And a lot of people are saying, could this be the rise of a new multipolar bloc in West Africa that is going to put a lot of competition on the table for ECOWAS to test ECOWAS credibility and ECOWAS viability as an organization that have existed for over 50 years. So not a meeting of ministers, not a summit of presidents, a summit, and that word, parliament, it tells the whole story we're trying to bring to you today. So let me paint the picture for you because context matters. On the 21st of August 2026, at the Mahatma Gandhi International Conference Center in Miami, Niger 45 in Niger, so 45 Confederate deputies were formally, installed into the parliament of the Alliance of Sahel States. So, according to information, 15 parliamentary members were selected from Burkina Faso, 15 parliamentary members were selected from Mali, 15 parliamentary members were selected from Niger. It was headed by Usman Buguma, the president of Burkina Faso, parliament, and you know, the legislative assembly who performed the installation. Now, the session is going to run from August 24 to August 29 in Niger, heavily secured. The security in place have been the unified AES forces. They have been deployed to the region to make sure that this summit is going to be a success. And according to information, the air defense asset of Niger have been activated to their maximum capacity. Anything can happen. So they are not trying to take some of this distinguished civilian leadership. They are not trying to take them, to take their relevance for granted. So the security measures have been put in place. The diplomatic measures have been put in place. Representative from Benin, Chad, and Togo, they are attending the summit as we speak. And the deputies have already begun constituting their commission. According to information, according to report, a committee on defense and security has equally been selected. Now, this committee is going to deliberate on issues of regional security and stability, and bringing orders to regions where the government might not have the opportunity to get information on what is going on in certain regions. What are they going to do? What cooperation are they is going to be in the best interest of the people and for the AES? So the thing that people have been asking me is that who exactly are those 45 people that have been selected as part of the parliament to to preside over the affairs of the AES, and how were they selected? That is the big question that a lot of people are asking. This is important, so I want you to understand how they were selected. The deputies were not chosen through a separate AES population vote. No, that was not what happened. They were designated through the existing national parliamentary and consultative structures of the Alliance of Sahel, of the three member states. So these are members from the Legislative Council of the AES. Now, the Europeans, the Western journalists, the intelligence agents, they are saying that, there was no election. So how are they sure that those people that have been selected, they are going to represent the interest of the people of the AES? Ladies and gentlemen, what I would say is that number one, we would not tolerate any conversation of Western democracy with regards to the affairs of the AES. You see, we are not trying to get into an epistemic dispute. Do you get what I'm saying? We are not trying to get into a dispute of identity. We are not trying to get into a dispute of civilization, a dispute of culture. We're not trying to get into that type of conversation here. You see, that factor, that entity, that construct that has permitted the plundering of African resources at the expense of African growth and development is not going to be allowed. You see, because for you to talk about Western democracy, you need people to accept that colonial construct that is used for systematic plundering of the resources of Africa and creating some very, very stupid type of reliance on Western technology, on Western government, on Western policy, and all of that. The George Soros, the Bretton Woods policies, it's not going to work here, ladies and gentlemen. Because what the West is saying is that these members of parliament were not elected. So if they don't represent the interest of the people, why were you trying to kill them in Burkina Faso? If this parliamentary member, who are the civilian leadership, if they were not representing the interest of the people, which for you as an African leader to represent the interest of the African people, you have to be anti-colonial. You have to be, see, let's forget this whole kabuki and shenanigans here. You have to be anti-West for you to represent your people in this continent of Africa. Because a lot of people want to they want to turn it into a buffoonery and make us believe that you cannot work with you cannot agree with the West. For you to represent Africa, you cannot agree with anything the West wants. Let me tell you something. Let me be very, very clear now. The only thing the West came to Africa to do is to steal. And the narrative you see on the headline is that Africa needs the West. No, the West needs Africa. This is the vantage point here. The West needs Africa more than Africa needs the West. The West cannot breathe without Africa. Look at the energy crisis in Europe. Look at the systemic damage of the institutions without good energy, without cheap Russian gas. And that is why they have intensified the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline project that is going to be running from Lagos State in Nigeria, that is going to be going to Europe. They don't want to rely on Russian energy, but they now want to get the resources from Africa. And where are they going to get it from? One of their colonies, Nigeria. If you are a Nigerian and you think your government is not a neo-colonial government and you think you are not a colony of Europe, then you're lying to yourself. You're very, very, you are so much severed from reality. They cannot tell Niger what is the deal for this Trans-Saharan gas pipeline that is going to supply natural gas from Nigeria to Europe. What is the deal? You and I, as Nigerians, we understand that whatever comes out of that deal does not affect my life, does not affect your life, will never, ever, forever and ever affect us positively. We know, because there is already a design. Tinubu traveled to meet that buffoon, Keir Starmer. They were discussing, they already borrowed a lot of money. Nigerian government already borrowed a lot of money that they stole almost instantly. So whatever gas is going to be coming from Nigeria, don't let them turn you into a buffoon. It's not going to be in the benefit of you and I. We all understand that. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Alliance of Sahel, for you to even benefit from their resources at all, you have to be very, very, your head has to be correct. You have to respect them. They have to benefit. The project is going to transform the life of the civilians in that place. The community where you are getting that natural resources from, you have to invest heavily. You have to build infrastructures in that community. See, the way these people operate is so transparent, is so decent, is so respectful of African dignity. And this is why we are behind them. This is not no Russian propaganda. See, because people want you to think that it's Russian propaganda. So that simple question of they were not elected. See, let me be very honest with you. We have condemned them to leadership. You want to hear the truth? You want to know the truth? We have condemned the leaders of the AES to leadership. They don't have the right. Listen and listen good. They don't have the right to come and tell us that they don't want to govern again. Do you think you produce this type of leadership? You produce this quality of leaders. You think you produce them by election? Election that is going to be influenced heavily with some very, very dirty money from the West? You think anybody that is going to come in to democratic government in West Africa as we speak through the ballot, you think they represent the interest of the people? Do you know how much lies and fake promises that President John Dramani Mahama of Ghana had to make to people to become the president of Ghana? Do you know how much lies that guy had to tell? The typical life of an elected official is all lies and kabuki theater. I am going back to the same question. If the leaders, these guys that have just been brought in to come and serve the people. Now, let's be very clear on something. During the summit, the opening day of the summit, the message of Captain Ibrahim Traore was being administered. That speech was not read. It was administered to the representative of ground. Now, Captain Ibrahim Traore said, and I quote, "The purpose of this parliament is not for self-interest or for self-pride, that you are representing the people of the AES, and every decision you are going to take in this parliamentary building must align with the interest of our people with dignity." You know, Captain Ibrahim Traore doesn't say too much without adding dignity and the respect of the people to it. He said you are representing the interest of the people, and don't forget for a jiffy that the people are watching you. Is that does that statement look anti-democratic to a lot of people? These people are representing the people. That is why they don't like them. Now it goes back to my question. If they were not performing, look at the Labao Brigade. According to information, we heard that there was a place in Burkina Faso just some days ago. There was a rapid inflation in price. Some criminals, they wanted to cause chaos, economic chaos. You see, if you go to Nigeria now, go to any of our Nigerian markets here. If you want to buy a bag, if you go to this person, he will tell you this bag is 50,000. Go to this person, this next person to that person is going to tell you the same bag is 250,000. You go to the next person is going to tell you that the bag is 300,000. So which one is it? This is how you destroy a society. You take every shred of honesty out of that society. And you see, civilians are so criminal-minded to the point that they will defend it. They will tell you, I brought the bag in, the cost, the money I used to rent the shop, and all of that is not the same. Stop that nonsense. Stop that lie. That is not how to build a conducive society for everybody to live in. That is why everybody is not created to govern. We have too many criminals. We cannot deny that one. Africa has the highest number of criminals the world has ever seen. It is because of this thing. And it is because of capitalism. That is why we have all this, criminal ventures here and there. People will beg you in the name of Allah. At the end of the day, they have duped you. Please buy from me. I beg you in the name of Allah. I am giving you the best price. But at the end of the day, they have killed you. So these people, let me tell you what just happened here. They were selected from a construct, a Pan-African construct that worked. They were not elected. We know how election goes in Africa. They were selected from a system that had the credibility to function. So they have been tested. They can be trusted. I said, when I look at the Malian, I know a lot of you are following the situation between Mali and Algeria, and you are seeing how things are developing rapidly between the two countries, right? When I looked at the Malian delegation that traveled to Algeria, ladies and gentlemen, see. Enough of the buffoonery in this continent. Oh. Seriously, we have to be very, very careful in this continent. When I looked at the Malian delegation, I continued to ask myself, what is this? What is this thing? Do you think a democratic government would have been able to produce those materials? I'm telling you, the likes of Abdoulaye Diop and that second guy, I think his name is Maiga or something. Those guys are cream of the crop. You know, to see that those guys are directly under President Assimi Goïta, like they are functioning and they are all on the same page, working for the development of the people. In a democratic system, is one criminal after another criminal. In fact, you cannot estimate who is a greater criminal. It's competition of the evil people. Now you want to know who is the greater evil. That is democracy for you. They pay their way in there and don't even think that it's their money. They are being funded from somewhere else so that the policies and the interest of those who fund them can come to stay. A lot of people don't know that there is a thing called lobbying in Africa as we speak. In African geopolitics, there is lobbying now. A society can come together and fund a politician in such a way that if he gets to power, he has to make certain decisions that will benefit them, even at the expense of the people. Now we're having a lot of internally displaced people because of democracy. You want to be politically correct. You cannot be decisive when decisive measures are needed. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are the West will not, they will not stupefy us into getting into that context of epistemic warfare. That warfare of the mind, that warfare of ideology, that we have to go to the ballot to select credibility. We have seen it work somewhere else. In China, there are certain positions that you will be selected based on your credibility. They have seen it that you are tested and trusted. Your chances and your pistons, they are functioning. Then they bring you to position. Not because of affiliation or maybe you have one tribal mark on your face. They are going to bring you based on the content of your credibility and character. So these people were selected. See, do you think there is no competition between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger? As serious, these people are, they are serious to the point that I'm beginning to ask myself, what type of competition is going on here? Burkina Faso failed 15 serious delegates from their country. I'm telling you that Mali must have sent another very dangerous 15. And Niger will try to balance it up with another 15. They are sending their best hands because the integrity of the country is on the line. And you see the way they move, you see the way they walk. You can see that Togo is trying to fit into the system because, come to think of it, why is Togo there? What is Togo looking for there? They are looking at this, everybody is looking at this framework. Why is it working? Why are they not puppets? Because don't let anybody stupefy you. Things are working in the AES. Look at the cost of fuel in Niger currently as we speak. And somebody will come and tell me now that Niger is a poor country. Hi God. You want to come and tell me, you think you have the idea to come and tell me that Nigerians are suffering with their current cost of fuel. And they're not even only relying on electric, they are not relying on the petrochemical form of electricity. There's hydroelectric for them through River Niger. They didn't stop at River Niger. They are now planning to build a lot of industrial windmills. They are not stopping at that. The solar plants that they have built, ladies and gentlemen, these people are going very, very far. And they are building thermal energy plants for their industry. You know, it's a very hot environment. Ladies and gentlemen, these people, they are moving at God's speed. And they are moving at their own pace. They are not looking at anybody to build their own civilization. This is a civilization that is coming up here. They are not doing copycats. Look at the medical, look at medical intervention in these countries. If you are sick in the country, yes, you have the right to say that, yeah, I want to be fine, because you can afford health care. Healthcare is the cheapest thing. Everybody talks about life expectancy. Who told you that you are going to get to a certain age if you cannot afford healthcare? The last time I had malaria in Nigeria here, I will not lie to you, it was about to. It's no longer the same type of malaria again. Drugs are expensive. Everything is very, very terrible. It's not the same type of malaria here again because Nigerian government permitted Bill Gates GMO mosquitoes in the country. Now, the type of malaria we are having, you can no longer treat it with ordinary chloroquine. I am telling you facts. I have experienced it. Multiple injections, still, it didn't work. The post-pathophysiologic symptoms are even worse. The catarrh, the cough, the headache. It was so bad that I had to donate. I had to remove some of my red blood cell. I had to remove it from my body just to feel a little bit lighter and for the thinning of blood. It's so crazy now. And when they go to their useless House of Assembly and House of Representatives, you are going to see them saying it's better you have GMO than you don't even have anything. Now everybody in the country is depending on oil. Everywhere you turn to is oil. Was Nigeria known for oil? Nigeria was known to be the agricultural superpower of West Africa. Now, bandits have already seized all the farms. Now, Nigeria is now, you are now importing food. Is that not some form of voodoo? You are now, see, they are destroying the society systematically. So every time you see them criticize Traore, it's because all of these things that is working in all these stupid West African countries cannot work there. How are you going to present yourself as having agricultural sovereignty? When you plant a GMO seed on a particular land, you cannot plant any other thing on that land again. You have to travel. You have to go and get it from the GMO company that supplies before that thing can grow on that land again. You are destroying the lands. The lands that does not belong to you, you are destroying that land. So without the people that are supplying the GMO, that land is not useful again. On top waiting. So you mean you have to consult the US. So when they say they put sanction on you, a lot of people don't understand that the only way sanction can be effective is based on the gradient of dependency you have been able to create. So when they say they are putting sanctions on you, that means all those GMO food supply, everything will be stopped. You can no longer progress. You can no longer proceed. Africa needs to wake up. The AES are already on the move, man. So according to information, the deputies were not selected based on election. They were picked from a system that was already functional and efficient. The members deliberate, they issue opinions on confederal matters, and they are working right now on the rules and the procedures that will govern the future sessions of the AES. Whether those opinions eventually become a binding laws is an open question for everybody to answer. And I think the question we should all be watching out for right now is what is going to develop, what is the next thing we are going to be seeing from this point forward. Now, but here is the second part that everyone has been talking about. Now, you see, in Nigeria, currently there's this language that President Tinubu has been echoing for the past 2 weeks now. He has been telling people to believe in democracy. He has been telling people to believe in the transparency of the ballot. He has been telling people to believe that democracy works. This is Tinubu. This is the statement that has been coming from his mouth recently. Because it's not Tinubu that is talking. Between me and Tinubu, if we sit down in the same room, he knows that he is not telling people to believe in democracy. Tinubu, he knows, and I know, and he knows that I know, that he does not believe in democracy. The only reason why Tinubu is saying that thing is because Tinubu knows that people no longer believe in democracy. And when people no longer believe in democracy, an alternative system is now a recommendation. And that recommendation is an acceptable recommendation. If what we are now having now is now a democratic coup d'etat, I know some people are listening to me and they don't agree. You have the right to your opinion. But I'm telling you that Tinubu knows, that I know, that both of us know, that democracy cannot work. According to information, he paid a US lobby to speak on the behalf of Nigeria in Washington. Does it even make any sense? For any reasonable decision to be made in this country, they have to consult Washington. Does it make any meaningful sense? Is that not some sort of political submission? Now, according to information, they told him to go and restore the belief of the people in democracy. That was why the Osun State election, people are now shouting, democracy won, democracy won, democracy won. Don't fool us. Don't try that nonsense. Don't fool us. Democracy did not win that election. They said they want people. The Americans told Tinubu, who is a CIA asset, according to documented information that you and I know that we have, that he should go and restore the belief and the trust of the people in election again. You and I know democracy does not work. It has not worked anywhere. Democracy does not work anywhere. Even in the UK, the British democracy, because let's be honest with ourselves. Democracy was a British construct to plunder resources of everybody. Without democracy, they leverage on religion. Even if the pathway of religion is not straightforward to plundering of your resources, they leverage heavily on democracy. It's Western democracy for a reason. Was Africa not governing? Were the Africans not governing themselves before Western democracy came? What is all of this colonial, grandstanding and all of that? Now, listen, let me be very, very honest with you. When they want to use religion, right? You have to be, normally, for you to be religious, your brain has to be, your cerebellum has to be in the abnormal location for you to be religious. Let me explain to you. Why are some of you paying your house rents? Why are you struggling to pay your house rents? Because I know not everybody has their own house, and not everybody find it easy to pay their house rent. If you have a city in heaven that is lined with emerald and ruby and gold, if there is a mansion in heaven, why are you struggling to pay rent? Why don't you simply just give it all up and go home? The Europeans told you to give up your own good. What shall it profit you to gain the whole world? And to say no to the stealing of your resources, and you lose your soul. Have you seen your own soul? So stop paying house rent. Just hand it now and go to that mansion you have in heaven so you don't have to pay rent. These people are terrible. If you begin to ask questions, then religion does not make sense again. Then they will tell you cannot question affairs of religion. They systematically, if you look at religion very well, it's like master to slave relationship. It's a continuation of slavery. The books are like constitutions. We are leaving you now with a fake independence, but thou shalt not depart from this book of the constitution that we're handing over to you. You will meditate in day and night on this book of the constitution. Don't steal your resources. That is what it means. Don't let anybody fool anybody here. That is what it means. Don't steal your resources. Don't do this one. Don't do that one. Now, representatives from Chad and Togo were present at the opening ceremony of the AES Summit as invited parliaments, not as members. A delegation from Togo led by President of the National Assembly, Komi Selom Klasu, arrived in Niamey on August 23rd, and the meeting started on August 24th. And this brings us to the question so many people have been asking. Is Togo leaning towards joining the AES? Is this a quiet wedding between Togo and the AES? Because come to think of it, Togo and the AES, they already have a lot of agreement. They already have a lot of understanding. They already have a regional mutual security, intelligence sharing, and defense pact. They've signed defense treaties, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to bind them to 2030. And now that same Togo is now attending the AES Parliamentary Summit, and the representative of Togo, they were clad in the AES robes. Family, what does that tell you now about Togo? And when you look at the movement of Togo recently, it has been wobbly, but it is now looking as if Togo is now that black sheep of the family that can no longer be controlled again. Because if Togo can be controlled, I can guarantee you that they would not have arrested those two French idiots that tried to carry out espionage in Togo, and they would not have detained them for that long. Togo it's like Togo has hidden that fruit of life in the Garden of Eden. Togo is the next member. Now look at the port of Lomé. The AES is heavily utilizing the port of Lomé. So people are now asking the question, because ECOWAS, they recently sanctioned Togo. Everybody is looking at Togo like, guy, what are you doing? Togo is not totally on the side of ECOWAS, it's not totally on the side of the AES. So what does that give Togo? It gives them a supreme leverage. They cannot be dictated to. Because if ECOWAS dictate to Togo, it means you might end up having them on the side of the AES. And their premise will be, we can no longer tolerate the pressure of the ECOWAS Commission. So Togo is being treated like a bride right now. Actually, the AES is not caressing Togo's ego. A lot of people are saying that Togo is using the bargaining chip of the AES to consolidate on our sovereignty. Whatever it is, I have listened to the Togolese before. Those people are honest. Those people are simple. Those people are very, very smart people. Because for the whole lies that have been going on across the region, the Togolese, they have been standing on business. They have not accepted any type of deceit, and they have not turned their back for once against the AES. These are the Togolese people for you. So if you are attending this summit, ladies and gentlemen, it means a lot. Now, other representatives that were at the summit were Chinese representatives and Russian representatives. What does that tell you? It tells you that the shift from the West, to me, is almost complete. A new currency that binds the region together is the final knockout blow. A new currency is the knockout punch. But from everything we can see, they are going away from the West. And this is not an exchange. No. This is not a substitution reaction or elimination reaction of one colonial architecture for another colonial architecture. No. There is something called Global South. So, how is China coming? China is providing economic leverage for the AES countries. They have been sanctioned by the European Union. They have been sanctioned by NATO. They have been sanctioned by ECOWAS. They have been sanctioned by the African Union. So when you see all these stupid African organizations sanctioning them, is the European Union using their influence to try to create a pressure on the AES. And that is where China comes in. For me, based on the statistics of global geopolitical dynamics right now, to me, I believe China is the superpower in the world right now. They have too many bargaining chip. They have so many leverage. If you do want to talk about the rare earth metal, when you look at China, China is an hegemon on their own right now. When China speaks, the world trembles. And China has given the AES that economic leverage. If Europe does not want to partner with you, China can partner with you. Now, China gives the AES an alternative that allows them to consolidate on sovereignty. What do I mean? According to the information I got from Dr. Zhu from Beijing University, he said that China does not delay any delivery to the AES, not by a day of the promised logistic timing. According to him, he said if the AES makes any procurement from China, according to the presidential decree of President Xi Jinping, they are to deliver it as fast as possible. And according to what he said the AES does not necessarily need to pay with dollars. They can pay with the Chinese yuan, they can pay with the Russian rubles, and they can pay with their own CFA currency. As if that is not enough. He said if they want to get some game-changing equipment that might be very, very expensive, he said then they can pay with mineral resources. Ladies and gentlemen, what other alternative is better than that? If you are dealing with the West, you have to go only through the SWIFT system. And for you to go through the SWIFT system, then there is a lot of exchange that needs to happen. That is where the Europeans and the West will leverage economically on the inferiority that they have created through several sanctions over the years on your economy and on your currency. They will over benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, the relationship between Africa and the West has been parasitic. And that relationship comes with a lot of lecture, it comes with a lot of dictation, it comes with a lot of listening from Africa. So it is time for Africa to change. Apart from China, there is Russia. Whatever China can sell to the AES, Russia can sell to the AES. And are you aware that they are under the security umbrella of both China, Russia, and North Korea? What does that mean? A threat to the AES is not just a threat to the three states. It's a threat to China, it's a threat to Russia. See, the reason why the AES has not been attacked by NATO is not because maybe they have one air defense system somewhere that is going to stop some B-52 bombers. No. If they activate their full defense pact, you definitely know that everything is going to go from left to right very, very quickly. They have a double layer security agreement with Russia. They are under the defense pact of Russia, the nuclear umbrella of Russia. So it means that if you want to contest with these people, anything can happen. Anything is possible. They can either use the blitzkrieg strategy, they can use the attrition strategy, they can use the nuclear game-changing strategy. Any strategy is possible. And according to Russia, the AES is a superior partner of Russia. According to Vladimir Putin, the last time he spoke, he said Mali, most especially, is a serious partner of the Russian Federation, and Russia does not take their interests for granted. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what real relationship looks like, not what we have with the West. Ladies and gentlemen, based on evidence, Togo is in between ECOWAS and the AES. According to information, I just want a lot of people to know today. Chad is similar to the position. And Chad is in Central Africa, not West Africa. So Chad owes nobody any explanation. If Chad attend the AES meeting, they are attending the AES meeting because they have the right to attend anybody's meeting. Chad is not under the sphere of influence of West Africa. So if Chad attends this summit, nobody is going to ask from them. According to information, Chad was never inside ECOWAS, not the AES too. So to begin with, Jamina has taken a soft part, a sympathetic posture towards the AES bloc that has joined their military exercises. So every time Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are going to be having a multinational military exercise, Chad is always involved. And according to information, they have a good security realignment that allows Chad to secure their border with Niger Republic. So, ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the third part, the part that matters to the whole region. ECOWAS has made a statement recently. According to the information we have, Nigerian foreign minister has said it, that ECOWAS door remains open to the AES member states. That anytime they feel like returning back to ECOWAS, they should feel free, that the door is open. But ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the situation that we have right now, I don't think, all right, based on the statistics of what we are seeing on the ground, every single institution that the AES is currently building, a joint military force, an investment bank, a television station that deals with African sovereignty and African narrative from African perspective, and a new parliament that binds the entire AES together. The parliament is like ECOWAS itself. That is what a lot of people don't know yet. That parliament, that AES parliament you're looking at, is like ECOWAS. It's like that governing body. It's like another African Union in the Sahel region. Ladies and gentlemen, all this development, all this nationalization, all this constitutional amendment that we are saying is one more brick in an alternative multipolar architecture in West Africa. The AES is not behaving like a bloc that is waiting to come back to ECOWAS. It's behaving like a bloc that is already building its own future. And that future is being built brick by brick. So, this statement from ECOWAS that their door is open, well, the door has always been open to the West. The door has always been open to bandits. Because if the door of ECOWAS have not been open to bandits, you won't have a sitting senator in Nigeria bringing bandits to his own house for medical care, bringing bandits to his own house to come and celebrate Muslim festival, bringing bandits to his own house to come and do their national ID card, bringing bandits to his own house to come and share money that they have collected as ransom for the blood of civilians they have shed. ECOWAS is a dead organization. ECOWAS is a dead organization. And may ECOWAS not rise again. Because ECOWAS is a new colonial construct. It's not a good construct at all. You might have your own sentiments. You have the right to your own opinion. Imagine a stupid organization that came out that said they are going to come up with a currency framework that is going to make economic activities very, very easy across the region. They came out and they made a statement that this currency called the ECO is going to put the resources and the economic capacity of the region together and is going to bring about African sovereignty. But by the time we dug deeper into the whole plot, we discovered that it was only going to benefit the Europeans and the currency is going to be pegged to euro and it is going to benefit the French. So the ECO currency is not even going to be printed by us. It's going to be printed in the Bank of Europe in Frankfurt. It's going to be printed in Chelmsford in France. It's going to be printed in Britain. Where's your sovereignty at in 2026? ECHO is a colonial construct. It's a CFA franc in another color. Is that how to move forward for African people? So the AES has given us an alternative. That is why people, even in ECOWAS, we are in support of the AES. And it is because of the lack of trust that the people of West Africa now has in ECOWAS. That is why you have, people like Tinubu now telling the people, democracy won. Democracy won. And you have a lot of people thinking that democracy can truly win in any reasonable society. Democracy can never ever win anywhere. Democracy is the game of the devil, if there is one. I will say this, right, family. The new bloc that is being built is not a bloc that undermines the unity of West Africa. It's a bloc that has given the people of West Africa another option. It is a bloc that has made it easier for sovereignty to be established in West Africa. If it was just ECOWAS, they will act as if they don't care. They will live their life as if nobody is there. But with the emergence of the AES, even the Europeans know that if we pressure anybody too much over here, they can go to that next block. And if they go to that next block, they are already in another sphere of influence entirely. So things are harder for the Europeans to really, really preside over the affairs of West African people right now. And I hope the leaders of West Africa can really take advantage of this good opportunity that they have. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the current situation we have. The Alliance of Sahel States are no longer returning back to ECOWAS, because if you look at the institutional developments in the AES, you definitely know these people does not look like people that one day will wake up and look in the direction of ECOWAS. Ladies and gentlemen, from what I have seen here, this is a courtship that is getting very, very serious, and that is getting very, very fast. So now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this development? Do you think Togo is taking advantage of the discrepancy in the region? Or do you think Togo is an active partner of the AES at this point? With that said, ladies and gentlemen, ignore the politics. Religion in 2026 is a new geopolitical tool. Let me tell you something. Seek forth the kingdom of God and all that is within it, and every other thing will be added to you. What shall it profit you if you gain the whole world, your land, your resources, if you gain everything to yourself by nationalizing it, and you lose your soul? Who told you that there is a soul for you to lose? Now, the last question that I want the Christians to answer for me, because everything to keep the mindset of a Christian African under the control of the West is to tell them that there is a home for you. There is a mansion for you in heaven, where there is everything. There is abundance of everything. A mansion for you. Ladies and gentlemen, so why are you paying house rent on earth? Why are you toiling so hard to pay your house rent in this world? You can just kindly help us by making a call, telling them you want to go home. Exactly what the West wants you to do. They want you to go home to that mansion. Ladies and gentlemen, if religion was a thinking person's game, are you not supposed to understand that this is a plot of certain people to keep Africans underneath, they are fit forever. It's high time African people begin to question everything, every decision, every policy, everything that we see. Africans need to see it differently. Europeans have the right to see certain information and be like, okay, this is correct. But to an African mind, it is not an information. It's a tool, it's a weapon to use you. The Europeans have always used Africans. And let us not continue to live with that syndrome. No, let us not continue to live with that syndrome that make you love the people that keep you down. No, 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 no. Imagine all of a sudden the Europeans said China is now using Temu to destroy Africa, that they are stealing private data from the people through Temu. That is, you and I know that is not true. They are only jealous that there is another partner, economic partner, being an economic superpower that China is, that has already given Africa another option. Ladies and gentlemen, what do I mean by giving Africa another option? If you want to learn a new tech, if you want to learn a new trade, if you want to learn a new skill, and you need some mechanized capabilities to improve your skill, you can always get this thing in other markets at a cheaper price with good exchange. You pay with your currency. You don't have to use any type of Western banking system. So it begs the question, is the old world order fading away before this lifetime of our very lifetime? It looks like it. The American military hegemony is falling by the day as we speak. The European influence in the banking system, in the maritime security network. Ladies and gentlemen, the old world order is fading away. The question to Africa is if the oppression of Africa has been if the oppression of Africa has been created by this old world order, why is Africa fighting so hard to keep that old order breathing? Why don't you just leave that order to collapse on its own? That is the billion-dollar question we should ask. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to appreciate everybody that has come to our live stream. I want to thank Ignatius Moore for your donation and your contribution through the super thanks to this community. We really appreciate your work, and everybody that stayed up to this moment to join this live stream, everyone that hits the like button. I really love you all. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want to appreciate everybody. I want to thank you for the like. I want to thank you for the share. For the people that are joining this community for the first time, I really, really appreciate you. You know, we live in a time where the system that has been created, most especially based on the architectural construct of the old world order. Thank you, the Stockholm Syndrome. Based on the old world architectural order, has been created to reward stupidity, to stupefy the entire society. If you look at the world right now, most especially in Africa, who are your influencers? There are people that don't influence you positively. There are people that create a sort of envious society. There are people that create strife. There are people that say things that oppress your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world that is controlled by capitalism, where problem solving through self-dependency, through independent policies and initiative is not being promoted. Joining this type of society is really, really the product of a dying breed. You don't see this type of, you rarely come across this type of society. But we discovered, based on statistical analysis, that this community is becoming more popular. A lot of people come across our videos every day. For the first time in the 2 consecutive weeks, we are seeing that the number of new viewers that are coming across this channel is now far greater. It's 60 to 40% ratio than the people that have been watching this channel before. So it means whatever we preach here is now being sent to a lot of people. So if you're seeing this community for the first time and you think we're adding any geopolitical value to your perspective of looking at African geopolitical affair and global geopolitical, you can kindly do well to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And if you're feeling generous, you can join our community by hitting the notification bell icon and putting it on all so that when next we drop our videos, you'll be the first to get it.